as a queen walking in her healed royal mentality, and as a daughter of the Most High, I am always protected, provided for, and secure. My personal boundaries enable me to move about this earth with security, safety, ease, and peace of mind. I will never apologize for having personal boundaries because energetic boundaries protect me and my peace of mind. Welcome back to another installment of the Virtuous Woman here at Healed Woman. My name is Samara. I am your host, founder, and royal queen here at Healed Woman Ministries, a ministry of believers or a community of believers who are on fire for the kingdom, doing relationships God's way, and really just leveling up in their king and queen mentality. If this is your first time clicking on this video or on this channel, honey, you're in for a treat because this is absolutely our second installment, our part 2 of the Queen's mindset around boundaries. My goodness, I'm so excited to be back again here with you all for another installment. I know things kind of got a little lengthy in the first installment, but if you endured until the end, you know you got a really juicy download, a lot of spiritual insight into the energetic boundaries of a queen, how boundaries protect you and your peace of mind. They serve you, they serve the woman you're becoming, and without them, you will live a life of unfulfillment, discontentment, and dis-ease, more than likely, or absolutely, you will absolutely live a life of dis-ease. So I want to give you all a brief recap so that the things that we speak about today make sense if this is your first time clicking on this series or joining in for the series. But I do implore you, I absolutely implore you to go back and check out part 1. It's linked in the description box as well as in the pinned comment so that you catch the first half of this very, very insightful, in-depth conversation around boundaries, a queen's mindset and approach to boundaries. My king, my queen, my daughter, my son, okay? Whoever's watching, receiving the Holy Spirit, we got into it last week, or the last time that we had a Virtuous Woman installment. We got into it. We got into the weeds, okay? And this, we're coming with more fire. Come on, Holy Spirit. We broke down what boundaries are. They are invisible parameters that distinguish ourselves from others and from our environment. Okay, we took a deep dive into what people pleasing is, where it originates, and how you can stop that behavior in its tracks so that you can reclaim your life and start to live and embody the queen energy that you are meant to embody. Okay. And then I gave you an assignment, which is why it's so important that you check out that video because it's chock full of nuggets and homework to get you started on building back better boundaries. Okay. So today we're going to be covering just, more in-depth information about a queen's mindset toward boundaries, why people-pleasing cannot possibly be your future, and really how to start setting energetic boundaries in your life, okay? So a queen understands where she begins, where others end, and vice versa, okay? She understands personal space, relational space, okay? Space between a stranger, okay? Conversational space, like she understands the invisible boundaries at play in various dynamics throughout her day. So remember, we defined boundaries as dynamic, ever evolving, always changing, and not fluid, or they could be fluid, but they're not rigid. You can have boundaries in place that serve you for a long time, but it's also okay to update them as necessary, okay? To improve upon them, to optimize them, okay? It is essential for your growth, evolution, peace of mind, emotional well-being to have boundaries in place in every single aspect of life, in every single relationship that you have in this life. Even with strangers, there are energetic boundaries, okay? There's the boundary of personal space and being late and, expectations that you have of services and stuff like that, okay? So there are boundaries in place even with people that you might cross paths with for a second, okay? So boundaries are in place to protect us, and queens understand that and implement them, okay? She is comfortable setting parameters around behaviors that she will and will not accept, okay? She's comfortable doing this. This is something to embody queen energy. You simply have to be at the level where you are energetically reinforcing boundaries. You don't even have to say it, huh? You don't even have to say it, hun. It can be nonverbal. It can be energetic. It can be not spoken, but reinforced with your actions, with your energy, with, the way that you show up, okay? And so that's the key difference between someone who's maybe now establishing themselves, as breaking free from people-pleasing behavior and really starting to embody boundaries and honestly savage energy, as I've heard it called before. Just stepping into your own and being unapologetic about it. And this will affect the way that you set boundaries and reinforce them, okay? So we're not saying you have to go around telling people your new boundaries, sharing your new boundaries, having conversations. Like, no, you simply set the parameters around the type of experiences you want to have on this earth and move accordingly. Set up boundaries that suit you, okay? And we're not saying to be mean or condescending or rude or, grotesque toward people. There is a way to treat people and reinforce your boundaries and do it classfully, okay? Classy, in a classy way, elegantly, okay? Gracefully, okay? So there is a way to go about this so that you get your point across as tactfully as possible, okay? And that might even be without words, okay? So I want you all to understand that the homework I gave you is really the beginning of laying the foundation of setting up your boundaries and how you're going to start to implement them in your life going forward, okay? So that's why that first video is very important, so that you have set the groundwork, you've laid the groundwork for this video to understand how that really lays the foundation for what we're even going to build upon spiritually, okay? The spiritual downloads we'll get today, okay? So a queen, she's comfortable setting parameters around behaviors that she will or will not accept, and she confidently removes those who violate her boundaries from her life, okay? A queen, a woman walking in her queen mentality, in her healed mindset. She is not afraid to show people the door and make room for more. That's something that I am really quickly, incorporating into all of my videos, because it is so key for elevating, okay? For dropping the weight so that you can elevate, okay? When you begin to set boundaries, it's going to upset people who were benefiting from your lack of boundaries, okay? Come on. If you have been a victim of people pleasing, maybe not a victim, but if you victimized yourself into thinking that people pleasing mindset, okay, if you've accepted victimhood as your portion on this earth, which it is not, honey, then you know that people will be upset, or that as a people pleaser, people benefited from your lack of boundaries, from your lack of standards, from your lack of expectations, of not understanding how valuable and precious you are to the kingdom. But once you start to embody that energy, and once you start to implement the boundaries that support who you're becoming, those people will be irritated, agitated, like pissed off. They will be angry. They will be upset that you have the audacity to stand up for yourself, to defend yourself, to protect yourself, to not want to be in their company anymore, to say no and not give an explanation. Honey, these people will be royally pissed off knowing that you are carrying yourself how you should have been carrying yourself the entire time. Let's be honest, okay? We're saving space for learning, for growing, for evolving, okay? I myself was a victim of people pleasing. I was stuck in that prison of saying yes, 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 when I wanted to say no, 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 no. And a simple no would have gotten me out of situations that a yes got me into, okay? And a yes that I said out of confidence, without any confidence. I said yes thinking, hoping that it would validate me in their eyes. Worst decision, honey, to self-abandon, okay? To self-deprecate, to self-sabotage for someone else's betterment? No, we're not accepting that behavior anymore. Another behavior that queens do not accept, absolutely check out that video. That was the previous installment of the Virtuous Woman series. There are behaviors that queens simply do not accept, and that is dimming your light, okay? Lowering your standards, being a people pleaser. Those are all part of the video. I encourage you to check out the rest, okay? And so a woman who is comfortable in this energy, comfortable in this dynamic, comfortable with herself, in her skin, loves herself, honors herself, cherishes herself the way that God sees her, will never allow someone to disrespect her boundaries twice. So we mentioned in the first video that you can't control people's reaction or adherence to your boundaries. You just have to remove them. So if you're struggling with understanding, why aren't people respecting my boundaries? Why aren't people honoring me, respecting me? It's because, honey, you have to model how you want to be treated first, and the right people will follow suit. So let's say you have a boundary around hugging. Let's just, Holy Spirit, please guide me. Let's say you have a boundary around hugging that you do not, okay, let's use the example from the first video. Come on, Holy Spirit. We had this amazing, beautiful, dynamic desire about love and relationships and marriage in our first video. I'm not going to repeat the homework, honey. Go check out the video, but I am going to repeat the desire. So we spoke about in the homework assignment something that you have to do to be able to begin building boundaries around that desire. And so we said, for an example, I desire a healthy, fulfilling, long-term, God-ordained, God-honoring marriage with my purpose partner in divine union. Okay, these are aspirations, desires, dreams that I have for myself and that I desire for you all. Okay, and so we have that desire, and now we need to set up boundaries and parameters to enforce that desire so that it is manifested. Okay, because if we say that we want a marriage, but then we start dating casually and sleeping around, we're not supporting that desire. We're not implementing actions that support that desire. Do you understand? So boundaries are set up in place to protect you, to help manifest the vision, help manifest your desires, okay? And it's a way to show people how you want to be treated so that your desire becomes your reality. So let's say we have the desire of marriage, purposeful partnership in divine union. And one of the boundaries that we set up is that we are no longer entertaining, in addition to the other examples I gave in the first video, another boundary is that we're no longer entertaining full frontal hugs from men, okay? Because maybe in the past that was a stumbling block for you, or that was a point of temptation to be in a full embrace with someone. And so a way that you are manifesting, your utmost desire around marriage is that you're actually going to start to protect your physical space. You're going to put a boundary around your physical space, okay? About how close in contact you come with the opposite sex, okay? So your boundary now is that you're not open. I'm energetically unavailable. Like, this is how I would write the desire. I am energetically, so to support this desire, this boundary must be put in place. I am energetically unavailable for full frontal hugs from men. Okay? Or you can say for men other than my family, or, for men other than whoever you want to exclude or include. Okay? And so now the onus is on you to implement that boundary, to reinforce that boundary, because the world doesn't know that you're not hugging men. How would the world know that? How would every single man who's ever going to approach you know that you don't hug men unless you first show up for yourself energetically, reinforcing that boundary around men? I can't tell you, this is a real example, honey. This is real. It's from my life, okay? I cannot tell you how many times that I have made up in my mind after I got over the people pleasing and succumbing to full frontal hugs from grown men that honestly had ulterior motives, okay? There's two types of hugs, honey, the hug and then the hug, okay? I can't tell you how many times I felt disgusting, or I felt, just really dirty after engaging in a hug that I did not want to be in. And I'm thinking, why have I not stood up for myself? Why am I so incapable of defending myself or of reinforcing this boundary that I don't want this type of touch in my life? And so the onus is on you. It becomes your responsibility to set the parameters and reinforce it. And you can do that non-verbally. You don't have to get into a confrontation with anyone. So a way that you can, and we're walking you through the process of how boundaries are even imagined, realized, implemented, and reinforced, because it's so important for those especially who struggle with people pleasing right now. I'm really trying to give you the game, honey. Give you some insight that's going to get you to where you need to be, safe and protected, and avoiding confrontation, and still standing up for yourself and embodying like savage divine energy. Okay, divine savage energy. You don't want hugs anymore. It may cause some people who are used to giving you hugs a little bit of whiplash. That's all right, honey. It may upset people who want to hug you but no longer have access to you. That's all right, honey. The people who respect you are going to honor the fact that you don't want hugs anymore. Or maybe you're open to side hugs. So when men go in for a full frontal, honey, you hit it from the side. Okay? You attack from the side. There is a way that when someone's going in for a full frontal, you are church hug right in the side. Okay? And you keep implementing that. You enforce your boundary of no more full frontal hugs with men and you give them a side hug, you give them a handshake, okay? Some people may hold out their hand, hold out their arm for a hug, and you extend a hand, honey, okay? Silence. You don't have to, you know what I mean? It doesn't have to be awkward. It's just, oh. Or when people are coming up to you, you know, like, where's my hug? I know that's a popular one. Where's my hug at? Like, no, thank you. Like, you can say no, thank you. You can step back a little bit. You can offer the hand. I mean, there's so many things that you can do to pattern interrupt. Okay, that's the word I was looking for. So for those who are now starting to implement boundaries, implement, reinforce, establish really, something that I learned that is really helpful is to pattern interrupt. And that's essentially what we've been discussing this whole time, okay? You're gonna have to switch up the game when your boundaries are in need of a change. That's good. That's good, Holy Spirit. You are going to have to switch up the game when you are changing your boundaries, when you're changing the way that you energetically show up for yourself. And a surefire way to do that is to pattern interrupt. So if people are accustomed to hugging you from the front, you give them the side, okay? You switch it up, okay? You switch up your pattern, you switch up your approach, you switch up your availability, okay? It doesn't just have to be in the hugging analogy. It can also be, okay, let's just use, this, let's stay with the relationship example and just use a ton of, examples of different dating practices that you may no longer approve of or be okay with because you are saving space for this divine union. You're not answering calls after a certain hour, okay? You're not entertaining texts, DMs, emails, I don't even know, after a certain hour, okay? Your phone's on do not disturb, honey. Phone's on silent. You're getting ready for bed. You're in devotion, like you're praying. You're in intercession. You're praying for your purpose partner, okay? And so the way that you want to show up as a wife means that you have to prepare yourself accordingly. So you holding space, saving space for this marriage, it means that you are now acting like a wife. And that's a whole boundary. That is a whole boundary, honey, to act as a wife. I'm no longer entertaining calls after 9. I'm no longer answering messages after 9:30. I am not on the phone, all quality hours of the night or day, or you know what I mean? Like whatever boundaries you have around phone calls, texts, and DMs, okay? Or, I am, and these are boundaries that some people may be mad at. People are texting you all times of the morning or night, thinking they have access to you. Honey, don't respond. Like, boop. Like, just don't even pick up the phone, honey. Just let it ring, or put it on DND, or you know what I mean? Put it out of your reach. Okay, if you're that tempted. Pattern interrupt, okay? Switch up people's access to you, because now you have boundaries that you are honoring so that this desire can manifest in its purest form. That's what I want you all to really understand, is that you are energetically showing up for yourself in a new, evolved, healthy, wholesome way. And people are either going to acquiesce to your new boundaries or they're going to fall away. I don't want you all to start beating yourself up over, oh, no one's respecting my boundaries. Like they keep calling me. Well, that's because you're still pattern interrupting. You're still showing them that you're unavailable for the phone after 9 p.m. And you don't have to give them a text back and say, hey, sorry, I missed your call. You don't have to explain it. When you embody the boundaries, honey, people will get the message. So someone may call you after 9 p.m. You don't respond till the next morning. Just don't respond. It's not an issue. You set the parameters around when you want to communicate with people. If they keep calling you and you have nothing to say, I'd say go ahead and block them. If they're not getting the message and you have been firm in your boundaries, block and delete. Honey, show them the door, make room for more. If people don't want to respect your boundaries, especially after you're implementing new ones, you do have to give people a little bit of time to realize what's happening. Show them the door. So someone calls you after 9, don't pick up. The next morning, however you want to respond, do not apologize for missing their call. Say, good morning, I have some availability later if you want to catch up. I mean, hey, leave it open, no explanation. You don't have to tell them where you were, what you were doing, why you didn't answer. That is your business. I mean, of course, depending on the type of relationship you're in, okay? If this is your husband, Lord have mercy, you know what I mean? But if this is a rando, a friend, a stranger, like someone you're now getting to know, set those boundaries, honey, and set them early so that people understand, oh, she doesn't answer the phone after 9. I need to call earlier. She's not a big texter. I need to put more effort into calling her and talking to her. She is, you know what I mean? Like she's busy, she's productive, she has a lot going on. I need to be more intentional about when I reach out to her because you're not always available now. You pattern interrupted, you've stepped back from being incessantly linked here, and now you're about something. You're about your boundaries, your father's business, you're about embodying new energy. You don't even have time for the jokers who want to mess around after 9 p.m. You have a desire to manifest, honey. And then the people who do not understand nor respect your 9 p.m. cutoff or whatever your new boundaries are, good riddance. Good riddance. Show them the door. And you don't even have to say it. Block and delete, honey. Move on, okay? I'm not saying to ghost people, but there are some people who absolutely deserve the cold shoulder because they simply do not understand that you have removed them from your inner tribe, okay? Other people, so let's go over some important things to remember about boundaries and like why it's okay to show up, or, you know, how we can get to a point of showing up for ourselves without even really reinforcing them verbally. Okay, I really want you all to embody your boundaries. You don't have to explain them to anyone. When we communicate boundaries verbally, they only exist in our mind. My goodness. When you have to sit down and have a heart-to-heart with someone who does not understand nor wants to understand that you have new boundaries in place, they only exist in your mind, honey. The fact that you have to sit down and try to explain something means that it exists in your head. It does not exist in your life. When you energetically reinforce your boundaries, it's because you've already you've laid down the law and now you're just showing up for yourself energetically, okay? When we communicate with our energy, it means that those boundaries are already a part of us. Remember, full embodiment. Me not answering the phone, I didn't have to say like, hey, sorry, don't answer calls after 9 p.m. No, I didn't answer the phone. Okay? Me not going in for a full frontal hug means that I am just not okay with that level of touch anymore. I'm going in for a side hug, if you are entitled to a hug. Okay? Me extending my hand, again, like if you're entitled to touching my gorgeous hands. Okay? We are queens now. We show up differently for ourselves. We have a higher standard. Okay, so you trying to explain yourself, you're wasting your breath, my love. Show up, just show up. And people will follow suit. And those that don't, good riddance, okay? Other people cannot possibly break your boundaries, okay? They simply do not honor them. They simply don't notice them or comprehend them, but only you break your boundaries. So someone going in for a hug, and if you mimic them and go in for a hug, you have just broken your own boundary by going in for a hug that you did not want in the first place. You pattern interrupting lets people know I'm still available for some touch, but I'm okay with this level of touch. You pattern interrupting the phone calls after 9 or whenever is letting people know I'm still available to talk. I'm no longer available after 9 p.m. Like you're letting them know that by your behavior. So when you have to sit down and text people like, hey, not available, you've just put salt on your own testimony or thrown sand on your own testimony because you literally communicated after 9 p.m. Do you see what I mean? If you're unavailable after 9 p.m., you're unavailable. If you're not texting someone back, you're not interested. If you're not hugging someone, you're not interested. They will get the message. You don't have to say a word. Your confidence and your reassurance in how you show up for your boundaries will let people know what your boundaries are. Okay? So others cannot break boundaries. You break your own boundaries by compromising, by settling, by lowering your standards and eliminating your boundaries to people please. Other people can only disrespect them. Okay? That's when we feel disrespected, when people encroach on our personal space, when people keep calling us incessantly. That's harassment, okay? That's bad. That's not fun. That's not really even legal, okay? Other people, disrespect boundaries, and sometimes the law has to get involved in certain circumstances, but most situations can be avoided with you honoring your own boundaries, okay? So in every scenario where you think people are breaking your boundaries, it simply translates to you not having any. In every scenario where you think someone has encroached on you and given you a hug outside of your comfort level, or someone, I mean, there are situations where people will insist on giving you a full frontal hug, okay? But you can still energetically turn that situation around, okay? You can physically step back if you see that they are still coming in for a full frontal hug. You can no longer give them hugs after that. You may have to employ some verbal confirmation and say, I am comfortable with this type of hug. Don't give an explanation. Don't give a reason why you switched up the pattern. Don't even you know what I mean? Don't even let them try to dissuade you or get you to change your mind. If they still keep coming in for a full frontal hug every time you see them, simply stop hugging them. In every situation where you think someone has broken a boundary, especially more than once, you let someone come in for a full frontal hug again. You mean you didn't show up energetically enough the first time and it happened a second time? That's what I'm saying. Queens are never going to allow someone to disrespect them twice. Because I think the same situation could be first time, shame on you. Second time, shame on me. Maybe that could be employed in this situation. But I don't want to turn this into a blaming game, okay? I don't want you all to start blaming yourself for not having strong enough boundaries. We're getting there. It's a process. You embodying this fierce, fearless, energetic boundary mindset is going to take time. But there are simple, tangible, okay, comprehensible ways to go about implementing your new boundaries respectfully, tactfully, energetically, confidently, okay? And I don't want you all to start beating yourself up oh, I'm never going to be able to enforce my boundaries stern enough or assertively enough. No, it's a process. Give yourself grace. Start with the side hug. Start by not answering the phone after 9. Start by stepping away from people who seem to be so incessantly, relentlessly bent on hugging you, and just simply don't allow them to touch you at all. They'll get the message, honey. They will. They'll stop coming around. Because you have a desire you're trying to manifest, honey. It's bigger than them. It's bigger than this hug. It's bigger than the phone call. You are in alignment with the divine, and you are trying to manifest what the divine is literally telling you is in your future. So don't get caught up on the little moments of discomfort as you are beginning to embody your boundaries. Continue to embody and enforce your boundaries. And I promise you, people will follow suit. Okay? So if you have not energetically embodied or reinforced your personal boundaries, you don't have any in place. So with the hug analogy, if they come in for a full frontal hug and you cave and you give them a full frontal hug, you don't have any boundaries around personal touch and personal space because you've just disrespected your own boundary. So people will try what you allow. People will absolutely try what you allow. They will do what you allow, okay? It is up to you to reinforce your personal boundaries with your actions and words if necessary. If necessary, honey. Words aren't even necessary sometimes. Sometimes they are, maybe a conversation. But some of the best words to reinforce a boundary: no, thank you. 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 That's it. I know some of you are wondering, what am I even saying no thank you to? Everything. Everything that does not energetically align with the woman I am becoming. That includes boundaries, desires, wants, needs, aspirations, career endeavors, ambitions. Everything that does not align with who I am becoming gets a big, fat no thank you. And in the case of a popular singer, thank you, next. Okay? On to the next thing that will align with me, and we're not saving space for things that are energetically unaligned. Okay? So, yeah, we talked about pattern interrupting and energetically removing them from your life. Okay? Do not ever allow someone to disrespect your boundaries twice, where they can repeat the same harmful behavior, because then that really just proves that you don't have a solid boundary in place. And maybe that's okay. Maybe that lesson is okay to teach you I need to work on this area. I need to strengthen this boundary. I need to practice this boundary. I need to reinforce this more. Like, what about my energy is not getting the point across? Because people will try what you allow. So what you disallow, what you do not allow, people are not going to try it. They might once or twice, but they'll get the message. Humans are quick learners. It's just some people think they can continue to get away with being a predator. And that's maybe when you have to get the law involved or get some wise counsel involved, okay? But you can handle yourself as a fully embodied divine vessel of the Holy Spirit. And, of course, God is going to help you reinforce your boundaries as well, okay? Because your energy, your boundaries rather, are here to protect your energy, okay? Holy Spirit is here to protect you energetically, spiritually, physically, okay? Through vessels, through people, through experiences. Like, you are protected as a daughter or a son of the Most High, okay? That's your birthright. You're protected always, okay? So we spoke about pattern interrupting. I pray that you all understood that concept. That is essentially the concept of removing your energy, okay? So boundaries, energetically downgrading people that do not respect your boundaries, okay? So removing the suckers that want to continue to suck the life out of you, to be energy vampires. Remove your energy, remove your presence, okay? When you remove your energy and you remove your presence, you remove access to you, you allow people who are deserving of what you have to offer to access you, okay? So when people do not understand the woman that you are becoming, they will continue to treat you like the woman that you were, that you used to be. When you elevate in your energy, you're going to have to leave those people behind, and you're going to have to know how to energetically remove your presence from their life, even if you can't do it physically. So what does that look like? Not talking to them, not acknowledging their presence, okay, in a respectful way, not engaging them in conversation. So this is maybe people that you live with, unfortunately, like if you're living in a toxic situation that God's actively getting you out of, and there are people who are threatening your peace of mind, energetically downgrade them. Do not engage in water cooler chat. I think it's what it's called. Don't engage in small talk. Don't engage beyond what you have to with that person, okay? Minimize small talk and minimize conversations. Literally just deal with them on a need-to basis. Tell them information on a need-to basis. Like, literally remove your beautiful presence from their life and watch how they wonder, what's gotten into her? Why is she being so distant? Why don't I have access to her anymore? Honey, because you have moved on. You've moved on, and you didn't really have to say anything. You just simply removed. You lessened your presence in their life, and you're on to bigger, better things, honey. You've cleared up energetic, mental space to handle some new, fresh energy coming into your life. Okay? Boundaries, okay? Remove your presence, remove your energy, remove access to you. And this is a good example of when you can't physically pattern interrupt. Well, you can always pattern interrupt, even if you can't physically remove yourself from the situation, okay? But while God is getting you out, you can still absolutely protect your peace of mind with energetic boundaries, okay? So I think, my goodness, we're gonna have a part 3. Wow, we have so much to cover on the boundaries discussion, on the boundaries conversation. We've definitely spoken for a hot minute already. I thank you so much for joining me, for sticking out with me, for enduring, for doing the homework last week, and for tuning in this week, okay? I pray that these lessons and examples and even personal boundaries and standards of mine have been insightful and useful for you on your personal boundary setting journey, okay? Because it's absolutely a journey and it's ongoing. You will always be setting and reinforcing new boundaries with new people, with the old people, with people, loved ones, inner tribe, whoever. Boundaries are here to stay, but not permanently, okay? They are constantly evolving and changing, okay? So I hope that you all are practicing the homework that we implemented last week. And I will see you all in our next installment of our boundary setting conversation. And I'll see you on the other side of your personal boundaries.